biggest quality that a lawyer needs to have?
Integrity.
Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I am Raphaella, and I'm here today with my mom. Welcome to the channel, Mom.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. It has been a long time, huh?
It has indeed. It's been a long time, but Mom has already been on the channel, so she's been in vlogs in passing. And we did a Who Knows Me Better video with my little brother, which came out, I think, last week. If you haven't done so, do check it out. But in today's video, we have Mom coming on the channel to talk to all of us. So I've introduced on my channel a series called the Graduate Series, when we had a few guests from different sectors coming to talk about their journeys getting into their field of expertise, their jobs. And so I just felt like it would be appropriate to have someone who has been a big support system, my biggest supporter, someone who has encouraged me, who has given me a lot of wisdom in my applications and my journey, to come and talk about herself, her own journey. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today. But without further ado, everyone get comfortable and let's get into this. Okay, so Mom, I've introduced a new little game before starting the interviews. It's just to make my guests feel comfortable and relaxed. So it's a quick little game, just the first answer that comes to your mind when I ask you these questions, just say it. Okay, mangoes or bananas?
Mangoes.
Rain or sun?
Rain.
What's the biggest quality that a lawyer needs to have?
Integrity.
Ferragamo or Louis Vuitton?
Ferragamo.
Who's most likely to be the favorite child, the eldest or the youngest one in the family?
The two of them.
Would you rather have unlimited power or universal respect?
That's a good one. Let me say limited power.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
Okay, caramel latte or vanilla cappuccino?
Caramel latte.
So are you feeling comfortable and relaxed now?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. So yes, as I said to everyone, I hope you have your beverages, and we'll just jump straight into the questions. So if you see me looking at my phone, it's just because I have obviously written them just so that the interview has some form of structure. Okay? Okay, so the first question that I'd like to kick off with is by asking you about your academic trajectory. In what country did you school? Where did you go to university? And what did you study at university?
Okay, so I studied in France. I studied law, international private law at La Sorbonne University. I graduated with, after a bachelor, a master degree, with a postgraduate degree, which is close to a doctor, juris, I think that's how it is called, degree. My, you said academic trajectory, I think that I just gave it, and then I went to the bar. I started actually studying for the bar in France at La Sorbonne, and I passed the bar in Cameroon. I think it was in 1993, you were not yet born. And that's what it is academically. And then through my career, I have acquired other, I would say, skills. I am an investigator for my organization in certain areas of our work, and so on and so forth.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so growing up, did you always envisage a career in international affairs? And if so, what were your motivations? If not, what made you pursue a career that deviated from your dreams?
Well, my dream was always to be a lawyer, which I am. I started my career with my organization as a lawyer, actually for 11 years. In 4 different countries. I was a lawyer, head of legal sections for my organization, and at this stage I can mention that it's the United Nations, so I believe that I didn't deviate as such. Now I knew also that I wanted a career at the international level on those platforms, global platforms. I always felt that, you know, my country of France were too small for me and for my ambition. So this is the reason why I studied international law. Okay, so I fancy myself as a lawyer who would be today in Singapore, the next day in South Africa, then the next day in Russia. I was interested in contracts, obviously the ones that are, we call the largest one, but primarily in development, also on issues related to our minerals, related to our mines and all this in Africa. So I am not far away from what I had envisaged, and I would say that my organization actually gave me the opportunity to not only realize my dream, but also to possibly be more focused on what exactly I could do for humanity.
That's amazing, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily have that.
I would say that yes, when you are in the legal field, you have a wide range of opportunities. I could, and I work on political matters. I am not a politician, certainly not. I'm not a political affairs officer, but I have also acquired that expertise. I believe that it's because of my academic background. I could be working on issues I mentioned, investigation, prosecution. We are also supposed or deemed to be excellent communicators. So I know that, and it's also something that I like to do in terms of writing, in terms of communicating, in terms of developing strategies around communications. And you know, lawyer, there is a lot of psychology, not only with your client, but now depending on the cases, you have a wide range.
That's lovely. Okay.
Diplomacy as well.
That's true. That's true. So the next question is, so a lot of my friends during the course of my previous master's degrees, so in international relations, and a lot of people generally speaking have always wondered how to land a job in an international organization like the UN, which is so competitive. So would you be ever so kind to share some insights with us as to how you started within this organization?
Okay, thank you for the question and the excellent opportunity actually to share my experience and possibly a bit of, I would say, a few tips on how one can join an international organization such as mine, the United Nations. And I say mine, after 21 years, I think that it's not a job, it's a family, and it's all that at the same time. So the first thing is you have to be patient. I applied for more than 5 years before my CV, as good as it might be, as average as it might appear to others, before it was picked by someone at HQ. It took me 5 years, and I think that one of the reasons is also that I didn't know, one, how to draft it, how to write it. There is a special format that I had to fill, and I was just sending mine without going through that mandatory requirement. You need to send it to the right persons. They are, and let's be clear, when you apply for a job, you can have the same CV, and then you have to really trickle it around the specific position. So you need to know all that. This is why I said you have to be patient and to learn really the little tricks there. This is one. I personally do not believe into it's who you know that will get you in the job, because in 21 years I never recruited someone because the person had been recommended. This might happen, but it would be an exception because our rules, our regulations, our policies are very clear. It's a competitive system. And I think that we have to go through the motion, and I did. And I am not in favor of shortcuts, as you know. The third thing is, obviously you need to showcase your skills, your degrees, your experience, not in an obnoxious, arrogant manner, but something that you know that if you were to assess that candidate yourself, you will obviously be interested. You have to be humble, but at the same time to showcase who you are. What else will I say? For the UN, I believe that we value obviously experience, we value different languages, we value diversity. So I will say the more diverse a person appears in his, her experience, academic qualifications, the more interesting I will say the person is. What else would I say for what would be the tips? The tips will be also to start really being interested in issues that really preoccupied us and the world. You should be able, in particular if you are invited in an interview, to say a few words about the issues of climate change. Again, we don't ask you to be grounded or rounded, in particular if you are a young professional, but it will be good to look into what is happening around the world. I like to have conversations with people that I interview. Yes, the technical skills are presumably there, so of course that I will really look into those ones, but I'm more interested in the personality. I'm more interested in knowing if the person would fit in my team, would fit in the organization, the issues of the values, the integrity, the diversity, the non-discrimination, respect for all those values is extremely important. Now, one has also to understand, and excuse me, I'm taking more time than I should, is that there are positions for just everyone. I may exaggerate in the UN and in others. But you need to understand that to join the UN, there are various forms of entry, if I will put it that way. You can join as an intern. Start, sort of paying your dues. You apply for internship, which is also in itself a competitive process because lots of people are applying for internship. You may not succeed the first time, you may not succeed the second time, you will eventually succeed. You can be an intern, and as you are doing your internship, you show really your readiness, willingness to really work in a team and really showcase what you are capable of, and this can land you a job. There is also something that is very much valued in the organization, which is called UNVs, to volunteer. UNVs are not staff, nevertheless they are being paid a stipend or allowance that normally helps them to cover their expenses in any host country. And I can tell you that our UNVs are actually professional. They have all the skills, but some of them choose either to be volunteer because they really want to donate, to give to others. They are not there for the money or for the career, or they choose that as an entry point while keeping an eye on the big
picture.
Yes, over there. Then there is also this exam for the young professionals that you have to go through the written test and the interviews. And then if you have more than all that, or if you are bold enough, you can go for professional assignment at the P level. You can go for FS, which is more logistic, administrative. At that level, you can also join as a consultant. You can join as a contractor. I will say that you need to really decide what is the path that you want to have. I started personally at the P level, possibly the lowest, which is P2, and it's not bad because it helped me over 21 years to really navigate through the system, understand it better. I like my job, I like my organization, and I believe that I have also been rewarded for all the efforts that I have put over those 21 years. So I would say be informed, inform yourself, be reasonable, be humble, also be realistic about what you can bring on the table, and be aware that there are thousands of people applying for the job. As much as you may think that you are the best candidate, there could be the best candidate somewhere in Ivory Coast, in China or elsewhere. So be patient, but it works.
Perfect, thank you. And so to piggyback off what you just said actually, so in a world where internships, apprenticeships and entrepreneurship are constantly evolving, in your opinion, do you think that education, so going to university and getting higher qualifications, are still something that people should strive towards?
I am sort of smiling because you know how I value education. You know. That is, I will say there is no question about it, that for me education is the beginning and the end, and I will explain that. Education could be, if you decide tomorrow to be an artist or to be something else, it can be maybe your safety net, you know, a degree that is there that can help you if you do not achieve what doesn't require academic qualifications. But those qualifications also help you if you are an artist or whatever. Look at the rappers. They are now sort of entrepreneurs. You know, you start by singing and then you have the production company and so on and so forth. You are an actor and then you become a producer and so on. So I would say that having that education is important to navigate your way, your path in any system. So I believe in education. But now education, you have the formal that I have gone through and that I want my children to have, but there are also other forms of educations that are possibly equally worth being considered. But let's say that in my organization, when we advertise job, we usually look for, there are a number of criteria. One is education, and at times we say, or something in lieu of a degree. But we start first with the degree for the vast majority of the jobs, and if it's not a degree, it is a diploma, which is still about education. Having said that, I'm also very much aware that not everybody can afford the type of education that some of your viewers here and yourself have been afforded. But once again, I say that even, I would say, vocational education is education in itself. So I very much value education. I value the experience that we acquire through internship, apprenticeship, and so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I know how Mom feels about education. Okay, so next, I have been very vocal on my channel about some of the challenges that I have personally faced getting into what I thought was my dream career or my field of expertise. Particularly, I wanted to work for the UK intelligence, so the nationality factor was something that obviously slightly affected me in the sense that I'm Cameroonian and you have to be British to work for the intelligence. So my question to you is, have you faced any challenges getting into your career, be it as a woman, as an African, as a Cameroonian, and if so, what were they?
The first thing is, I hope that you haven't given up on your dream. You are speaking of the British intelligence, but it could be the Cameroonian intelligence, it could be the US intelligence.
Yes, the compliance.
Yes, the criteria of nationality, it's one, but once again, if you are an expert that is renowned, I can tell you that they will offer you those nationalities or they will just drop those criteria. So for me, you have to keep that dream, and I know, and I have paid for it, and I know how important it is for you. Please don't give up, you will make it. And I believe that it's not a question of nationality, really, when it comes to really the devotion, the commitment, the loyalty that you have for your country. It can be your country of birth, as it can be the country that actually welcomed you, as the UK has welcomed you. Mm-hmm. So you may actually have more loyalty to the UK than someone who was born British. It's not, I would say that now in particular, and when you work in at the international level, you see that those issues of nationality are important, but what do they really translate in terms of belonging to a country or to certain values and so on and so forth. So now your question, if I experience
any challenges, any barriers?
Yes, you always do. At the workplace, always. And I believe that I still experience a few of them and that I will until I retire. It's almost part of I would say, the game. You have to be prepared for that. I joined the organization as a young black African, because being black US or black Caribbean or black French could be different. Black African woman, also francophone, because at times this can, in particular if you work in an English-speaking country, yes, being French-speaking, you will have your own challenges. So did I face discrimination? I don't know. Maybe I didn't notice. Did I face a bit of what do you call it, prejudicial or prejudice attitude? Certainly, and it continues. But you know, once again, you have to understand that either because of your gender in an environment that may have been male-dominated before, either because of your race, being black woman, and in particular in my domain, I was in legal, I believe that there were more colleagues from Western countries than from Africa. So obviously, yes, you will always be a minority. You will always be a minority. But you know, instead of looking at the negative aspect of it, I always made it a strength. I made it in a strength in the sense that I'm different and I accept it. And actually I love it, I like it, I'm different, I'm unique, and we are all unique. And I will not lament myself. And it helped me in actually working harder so that I would be able to compete with others. And I hope that my skills and everything that I would bring on the table would be looked into more than my gender or my race or my age or anything else. So it helped me, it empowered me to some extent. Of course, there were times when I felt unfairly treated, but I would say it's part of the game. That's the way it is, and it's not specific to my organization that actually has done and continues to do a lot in terms of gender diversity, geographic balance, the fight against discrimination at the workplace. Not at all. It's not specific to my organization. I think that we have actually very good records in terms of fighting those issues at the workplace. But one has to be ready to face that type of challenge.
That's true, and then embrace, I guess. That's the main message. Embrace your
difference.
You're different, yeah.
It's
part of you, really.
I do me.
Thank you for that. Okay, so as I explained in the introduction, you are literally my biggest supporter. You've been instrumental to me getting into my profession, be it with the assistance you provided with education, the support, etc. I remember there have been many times when I've come to you and cried over the phone if I had a job rejection, etc. And you always have the right words, be it as a mom or because of rejection that you have personally, experienced. So I wanted to ask, what would be your advice when it comes to dealing with rejection, be it personally or professionally?
Said, and your question is interesting. I gave an interview and that very same question was asked. I said that rejection is a part of life. You may be rejected, sort of rejected. Maybe your parents were expecting a boy and then it's a girl. It may be that they were expecting someone who looks very slim and you are slightly overweight. We are different. So if it's not rejection as such, you may meet people who may not like who you are, what you are, and so on and so forth. So rejection, how I deal with that? Well, there are different ways of being rejected. and because there are different ways, you may cry, you may, how do you call it, decide that you need time for yourself to reflect on what has just happened, and that is fine as well. Rejection, you may decide to discuss it with the person who rejected you. At times it's just inadvertent, or you may decide to discuss it with someone else who can really help you go through the motion, through what has just happened. You may discuss to just brush it away like, and you carry on. You may decide to actually use that in order to
build resilience
and carry on. There are different ways of dealing with rejection. For me, rejection has, yes, it has been painful, but I must say that rejection, in particular the one that is really deliberate, is one that makes me stronger. The one that is inadvertent, somewhere sort of intrigued me. How would someone do something like that? Why? I will ask myself more questions when I know that it was not deliberate, but it could have been avoided if the person had done a little bit of homework, was more exposed, was more, in this world, there are a number of things that we could avoid now thanks to the social media and the wealth of information that is there. So it's much more, it intrigues me. The one that is blatant, that is nasty, that is deliberate, I would say strengthen me. Because actually, I understand that I need to do more to be either accepted, or I need to do more to show the person that the person was wrong. If I was to give an example, I remember, and it's not rejection, but let's put it in the same category. I remember at the very beginning of my career, I would attend meetings. I would be sent by my boss who had total confidence in me, and I would attend the meetings where people who were 2 to 3 grades ahead of me, higher than me, professionally, would be sitting around the table. And these were people who were at the level of my boss at that time, 21 years ago. So I was very junior. And as soon as they would arrive, and they would say, okay, coffee and the note-taking, because for them, me being a young African woman, I could only be in a position of serving coffee or taking notes. And I would say, no, I'm sorry, I'm here to represent XYZ, who was at that high level. So they give you that sort of very skeptical looks like, really? And by the time the meeting is over, they tell you, can you please tell your boss to always send you, really just for continuity, just to have a process that is really seamless. We don't want to change that much, and actually we appreciate your participation. You see how from sort of rejection at the beginning, they eventually adopted me as a part of that platform where I showed that a young African woman can also have a number of skills that will help any process that this organization is putting in place. I said it empowered me. It empowered me, and this is what I see. Someone at a personal level who rejects me, well, it's their loss, it's not mine.
And that's what Mom told me once, actually. So I agree, and I think from what you said, it even goes back to what you said earlier about any challenges and that makes you and embracing it. And it really reminds me of like a scripture that talks about rejoicing in all circumstances, because even that rejection builds you into who you are, it builds your character. So I like that. Thank you for that advice. Okay, so I'd like to take the opportunity as I have you on my channel to ask a personal question. And it's kind of related to this, but I wanted to ask, and maybe other parents out there can relate, other parents like you, to elaborate on the question. So I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who expressed that she wished she'd grown up being taught financial literacy and other skills, etc. And it made me reflect on my personal childhood. You've instilled a lot of values, a lot of these skills in me. So my question is, whilst you've done all of that, as a mom, you obviously had to make a lot of sacrifices. So do you have any concerns or regrets over the upbringing that I have had? And do you ever feel like I've grown up either sheltered or not street smart?
Okay. Whew. My only regret would be that I was not physically present enough when you were a child or in your childhood, because I left for my career when you were 4 years old. And I believe that's actually a beautiful age. You start talking, you are developing your personality. I can put you this dress and this and that. We are sort of copine, friends, and this. And so this is really something that was a bit of, I would say, it's not a regret, because I don't want to live with regrets and I try not to. But it was needed, but I wish I would have had the choice and I would have done something else. However, thank God, over the years we have sort of tried to catch up, and I think that you are sound, you are well, you are healthy, you are mentally fit, so obviously
you did a good job.
Yes, obviously you are fine, and so am I, and here we are talking, we are still friends. I was saying that this could be, it's not a regret, but something I wish I had a choice, and I would have made possibly a different one. Now I'm not totally, maybe I don't understand the question, streetwise?
Street smart.
Street smart. Listen, you have been living in the UK for 14 years. Mm-hmm. I'm not in the UK, your dad is not in the UK. You have grown up to become a very independent young woman who makes excellent choices for her life. You are following the path that I think and I hope other young girls of your age will follow. You know how to manage your private business. Academic wise, you have done great. You have 2 masters, and you had 2 masters before you were 23 years old. I look at you and I say, thank you, Lord. I'm very proud of you. You are not the type of child who calls and who is trying always to get more money or to do whatever. So I don't know what else I could have instilled in you. Mm-hmm. I believe that you have the values of hard work, you have the values of being God-fearing and also God-abiding. You are a very decent person, you are smart, and you are also a very valued, beloved member of not only our family, at that our little cocoon, but also the extended family. So I don't see what else you could have had. You have managed so far to avoid some of the, I would say, the traps and that young people, or in which young people may fall. So no, I am grateful to the Lord and I am very proud of you, and I can only pray that the next years, as you continue to grow, will only confirm what you are at present and what you have shown.
Thank you. Amen. And to further echo what you said, I just want to say as well that anyone who watches my vlogs, anyone who knows me knows that I love my mom. Although we didn't physically live together, we had such a great relationship. You know, we talk every single day, be it on like WhatsApp messaging or phone calls, and that was even prior to WhatsApp being there. Before technology reached where it was, we still had that relationship. You were explaining, you know, earlier how you used to go in Istimor trying to call me, etc.
The time difference to get a phone to call Africa between Asia and Africa or when you were in France or in the UK.
Yeah.
I remember all the Barbie dolls that I would spend my time, looking for the black Barbie, the new Barbie that had come out, and then there was the other one that was not very pretty. What do you call that one?
The Bratz.
So let's say that one as well. It's important, and really to the parents out there, it's important to live with our kids and to give them all the love and everything. But I was not physically present, but I think that in terms of love, there was never a question.
Yeah.
In terms of my commitment, in terms of really putting everything aside to talk to you, to engage with your teachers. I think that in all countries, in particular in the UK, they know me because I will ensure that I was present for the meetings between the parents and the teachers and so on, and the main events of your school. So I think that regardless of where the parents live, with the kids or not, this is something that should still be done, and also build the relationship parents-children.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's such an important message, because sometimes I had a debate once in the past with my university classmates, and one of the girls was saying that she feels that she has to choose between a career or a family. And so you're a good example of it's very possible to do that. As I said, I've had a good upbringing, thank God, thank you for that. So whilst I have many other questions that I would love to ask you, and I'm sure the viewers would love to know, the interview / chit chat has to conclude. So I'd like to finish off by asking a question that I ask all guests on this channel, which is, what is something that you wish you'd known before, and/or a gem of wisdom that you'd like to impart on someone watching this video today? You've obviously imparted a lot of wisdom, but just one final word.
Impart to people. Humanity, kindness. I have worked essentially in places where there is lots of suffering, and I would not have known that there was so much suffering if I hadn't traveled the world and worked with my organization. So if there is one thing, it's humanity. We are one humanity, regardless of where we go, developed countries, developing countries, regardless of the race, the gender, the social, academic background, the religious belief, or if it's not religious, spiritual belief. We are one humanity. So what I would really try to share or really request of others, it's really that we have to show kindness. We have to silence the guns, so to stop the wars. We have to avoid anything that can harm the people, the planet, that can harm our development, our growth, and really request that we look in more ways of, partnering for humanity. And this is not just a slogan. Again, we need to work in certain places to understand that it's just that humanity that is missing, and that a number of people, in particular women and children, when you look at sexual violence and conflict, and that you hear that a child of 3 years old is raped, and this is almost a daily occurrence. When you look at the type of physical torture that is inflicted to others, and if it's not physical torture, because of wars, how people are starving, how people are dying, how people are deprived of basic social support, and also our climate, our environment. We need to look into that. I'm already thinking of the next generation, which is the generation of your children. What is it that I would like them to find when I will no longer be there? So again, it's that sense of humanity. And with that sense of humanity, I think that we can really turn this world around. Mm-hmm. And maybe if we take opportunities such as COVID-19, to show more generosity, more unity, more compassion to others, and also to give to others. This is something that I will mention.
Thank you. And I think actually that's probably something people should think about if you want a career in international development. Do you care about the people? Do you care about the change for the best of the future generation, etc.? So yes, well, thank you for that. And we have to end the chit chat here. One, because Mo and I have to go to the airport with Jaden because I'm traveling. But thank you so much for being on the channel. We hope to see you very soon, and I hope that this video has helped someone out there. I hope that the whole graduate series was helpful. If it was, please be sure to share it with anyone who you think may be interested. Also, please give me a thumbs up on this video to show your love and support, and so that it's recommended onto other people. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please consider doing so, because there'll be loads of content coming up this year. But yes, so thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.